I watched my wife, the woman I've loved for 20 years, chained to our own porch like an animal by the HOA president. Her face was pale, her lips turning blue, and that woman stood there laughing, calling it discipline. She had no idea the man she just challenged was the chief of police. That morning had started so peacefully. Sunlight spilled through the curtains, and Maria, my wife, was trying to breathe through the tightness in her chest. She'd already survived 2 heart attacks, and every day felt like a delicate balance between calm and collapse. "I just need a little air," she whispered, so I helped her out to the porch to her favorite white chair under the hanging ferns. The doctor said fresh air helped her heart, so I always made sure she got it. I didn't know that just across the street someone was waiting for a chance to destroy that peace. Karen Henderson, HOA president, self-proclaimed guardian of neighborhood standards. She was in her 50s, perfectly pressed khaki pants, tight smile, always clutching a clipboard like it was a royal scepter. I'd heard the neighbors whisper about her fines for mailbox colors, threats about unsightly flower pots, but I thought she was just overzealous. I didn't realize how far she was willing to go. An hour later, I was frying eggs in the kitchen when I heard shouting outside. I ran out and froze. Karen stood over my wife holding a heavy metal chain. Maria's hand was already locked to the porch railing. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted. Karen didn't even flinch. "Your wife is in violation of community standards," she said, her voice dripping with authority. "What standards? She's sitting on our porch. Residents are not allowed to be visible between 9 and 5. It's disruptive." I laughed out of disbelief. "That's not a real rule." "It is now." She clicked the padlock shut. Maria gasped. "Please, please, I have a heart condition." Karen leaned in. "Then maybe you should stay inside." I wanted to rip that chain off with my bare hands, but Maria was trembling. I tried to stay calm, tried to reason. "Unlock her, now." Karen smirked. "Or what you'll call the police, I am the authority here." The stress hit Maria like a bullet. Her breathing turned shallow, her face gray. "David," she whispered. "My heart." She was having another attack. I reached for my phone, but Karen slapped it from my hand. "No outside interference," she barked. "This is an internal HOA matter." That's when I snapped. For months I'd tried to blend in to live like any other neighbor, not as the police chief. But watching Maria chained, gasping for air while this psychopath quoted fake rules, I couldn't stay silent. I pulled my badge from my wallet and held it up so she could see. "Karen Henderson," I said, my voice shaking with fury. "You're under arrest for false imprisonment assault and endangering the life of a medical patient." Her face drained of color. You're a cop." "I'm not just a cop," I growled. "I'm the chief of police." Her eyes widened, but even then she tried to justify herself. "You can't arrest me for doing my job." "Your job." I stepped closer. "Your job is terrorizing sick women, chaining heart patients to railings." She started to stammer something, but I wasn't listening anymore. I knelt beside Maria, trying to free her wrist. Her pulse was weak, her lips blue. "Hang on, baby. I've got you." I called for an ambulance through my radio. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. When the paramedics arrived, they couldn't believe what they saw. One of them looked at Karen and said, "You chained a heart patient during an attack." Karen mumbled I was maintaining order. As they loaded Maria into the ambulance, she gripped my hand. "David, I thought I was going to die." "You're safe now," I told her. But the truth, I wasn't sure she was. At the hospital, I sat in a chair beside her bed, staring at the heart monitor, the steady beeping that could stop at any second. The cardiologist told me the attack was massive, worse than the previous ones. If she'd gotten her medication sooner, the doctor said softly, she might have avoided this. That sentence gutted me. I should have protected her. I should have seen it coming. For a while, I blamed myself. I even wondered if I'd made things worse by hiding who I was. I'd wanted to live quietly to let my wife heal. Instead, my silence had given that woman power. But guilt wasn't going to save anyone. When Maria finally woke up, her voice was weak but steady. "David, did she get away with it?" "No," I said, "and she never will." That's when everything changed. I launched a full investigation, not as a husband, but as a police chief. My officers uncovered years of abuse. Karen had fined elderly neighbors for walking too slowly, forced kids to stop playing outside, threatened disabled residents, even pocketed tens of thousands of dollars in fake fees. We found her punishment ledger, a notebook where she ranked people by how much she hated them. At the top, Maria Martinez, repeat violator, needs example made. She had planned it. The chain, the lock, the timing, all of it. The news spread fast. The community turned on her overnight. Neighbors came forward with their stories. An 85-year-old veteran she'd humiliated for displaying his Purple Heart flag, a couple whose autistic son she called disturbing to property values. Every testimony painted the same picture: a tyrant with a clipboard and no conscience. When the trial began, the courtroom was packed. Cameras, reporters, neighbors, all waiting to see justice finally happen. Maria took the stand, her hands trembling slightly as she swore the oath. "I was sitting on my porch," she said softly, just trying to breathe. "And she chained me up like an animal." "How did you feel?" the prosecutor asked. "I thought I was going to die," Maria said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I couldn't reach my pills. I couldn't even move." Her words silenced the room. Even the judge looked shaken. Then it was Karen's turn. She strutted to the stand like she was still in control. "I was maintaining community standards," she said proudly. The prosecutor leaned forward. "And what rule allows you to chain residents to porches?" "I have discretionary authority," Karen declared. "Authority from where?" "My position as HOA president." The prosecutor raised an eyebrow. "So you believe being HOA president gives you the right to physically restrain a heart patient during a medical emergency?" Karen lifted her chin. "If that's what it takes to maintain order, yes." You could feel the air leave the room. Even her own lawyer buried his face in his hands. When the prosecutor asked if she felt any remorse, Karen's answer sealed her fate. "I regret that she used her condition to avoid consequences." The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on every single count: false imprisonment, assault, fraud, elder abuse, interfering with emergency medical care. As the judge read the verdict, Karen's smirk finally vanished. The sentence: 12 years in state prison with restitution to every resident she'd extorted. She still didn't apologize. As they led her away in handcuffs, she looked at me like I'd stolen something from her. But she was wrong. I hadn't taken anything. She'd destroyed it all herself. I didn't stay for celebration. I didn't want victory. I just wanted peace. For weeks after the verdict, I couldn't shake the image of that chain around Maria's wrist. The sound of the lock clicking shut. The fear in her eyes. It haunted me more than any crime scene ever had. But somewhere in all that darkness, I found purpose. I pushed for new laws to protect people from HOA abuse, laws that would make what Karen did a felony with harsher penalties if it involved medical neglect. And I named it after my wife. Still, justice didn't erase the trauma. Some nights Maria would wake up gasping, thinking she was still chained. And every time I'd take her hand and remind her, "You're free, you're safe." People think monsters hide in shadows, but sometimes they live across the street holding clipboards pretending to maintain order. Karen Henderson thought power came from rules and fear. But real power comes from standing up even when you're scared, even when your heart is breaking. She chained my wife's body, but she couldn't chain our courage. And that's the lesson I'll never forget: when cruelty disguises itself as authority, silence only feeds it. The moment you speak up, that's when real justice begins.